Hello everyone, welcome to Lever Guns 50. Today we have this 1887 rifle out here in 70-150. Now the history on this goes that back in about 1888, Winchester came out with a cartridge board with these big old bad cartridges on it, and these 70-150 cartridges on it. And so it's thought that the factory made one rifle in 70-150, and they said that they only rifled the last 6 inches of the barrel. However, in later years, some other guns have turned up in this caliber. One of them, the way I understand it, was a fully rifled barrel. So regardless of how it started out, we have one, and this is a fully rifled barrel. It's in 70 caliber, not 12 gauge. 12 gauge is 72 caliber. So this is a 12 gauge solid brass shotgun shell, neck down to 70 caliber. And it holds 230 grains of powder behind a 700 grain bullet, and about 220 grains of black powder behind a 900 grain bullet. So we're going to be shooting it with 777 equivalent to those loads, and we're also going to be using black powder, and we're also going to use one smokeless load, and that's going to be into a jug, about a 2.5 gallon jug of rotten eggs. And that's going to be for the final shot, and we're going to check it out and see what it does to those.
Look at this old powder
rotten
here.
eggs.
This stuff works.
That one's going to be going about 1,400 feet a second, the same as the 777 loads. And so what we're going to do is get this thing loaded up and do some shooting. With the hottest load of 777, it produces 103 foot-pounds of recoil. So it is a pretty hard kicking gun, but it's pretty light too. I think it's 9 pounds 6 ounces. So anyhow, we're going to get this bad boy loaded up and do some shooting. And we're going to shoot into some ballistic cloth first, and then we're going to shoot in through a log, and then we're going to shoot into those rotten eggs. So we're going to see what kind of muzzle blast this thing makes. We're going to get some long angle shots, let you guys see this fire breathing dragon. So, and it was originally an 1887 shotgun, and we're going to leave all the information down below. And if you really want to,
there's a 50 caliber.
If you really want to check it out, if you check it out on the Patreon page, we're going to have loading data plus all the companies that provided all the stuff for this, or you can email me. This is still the largest bore lever action rifle
that dude talks a lot
made. So even if only one of them was made, it's still the largest bore lever action rifle that I know of. And this reproduction is really well made, and have a little bit of fun with it and see how much power this thing can actually produce. So we got some ballistic cloth down here. We're going to load it up and shoot it.
Ooh, look at the recoil on that thing. The smoke trail almost reaches the target. The thing will hold over 230 grains of black powder.
43 feet a second for a 900 grain bullet. We loaded it just a little bit lighter because we're using a harder bullet. And so let's look at what it did. You can see that big old hole. You can just stick your finger right inside there. And look at that.
The devastation that bullet does is amazing.
I mean, look at that. You can just stick your finger right in there.
I believe back in the day that would have been called a stopping rifle, because it would stop anything that was moving.
Still going. Hopefully you can see it right there, still going.
A lot of people compare it to a 12 gauge slug, but you know, back in that day, I guess they didn't have 12 gauge slugs.
Still going.
And that was a fully rifled, well, it was a rifle cartridge, and that 900 grain bullet is quite a bit heavier than any 12 gauge slugs that I've seen.
Looked like it went all the way
and
through.
I believe they've shot up to a little over 1,000 grain bullets out of it. So
didn't quite hit that steel.
Pretty hefty, but that's the size of that soft lead bullet going through all that cloth. I mean, it did a number on that stuff. That thing's huge.
Went all the way through all those pants. Stopped. Must have stopped.
And that cartridge came out back in 1887 or right about there.
Look at the size of that bullet.
That thing's amazing.
Good,
if you want to know more, check it out. Check us out on Patreon because we really can't share a lot here on YouTube. But we're happy to share all the information that we have on it. As far as I know, this is the first video footage of an 1887
11 feet a second.
70-150 rifle being fired.
It's blowing through here pretty good. I think it's probably going to go all the way through. We're going to go to the back and look at it. Didn't go through our block. It actually looks like it stopped right there. I've dumped water on it, so it may have expanded better than it did last time. Look at that big old bulge right there. Yep. Well, it expanded more uniform, but not necessarily any better. It's going just slightly, you know, just a little bit faster. There's our 900 grain bullet. That's what the back of it looks like. Let's compare it with the other one. The other one expanded a lot better, but it, for whatever reason, I think it may have turned.
That's amazing, isn't it?
But I don't know. Who knows? Stuff does what it does.
Wow. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Look how hard it recoiled there. You know, that's really powerful. That little light gun will really put a number on your shoulder. Look at all the debris it blew out the back of that piece of wood. You could actually see the bullet flying there if you paid attention.
Here's the hole going in.
Bullet went right through it, didn't even slow down.
There's some destruction. And here's the hole
might have
coming
slowed
out.
down a little bit.
Look at the size of that thing. Well, let's see if we can find the bullet. All right. So something hit right there. Went through that one, hit there.
It's amazing what those bullets will do. You know, 900 grains of lead is hard to stop.
Still going.
I mean, they just, once you get it up to speed, that thing don't want to slow down for nothing.
It was going straight too, see? This is the back of the bullet.
Look at that. Look at that thing.
Look at there.
Ripped through that log like it wasn't
nothing. That one there mushroomed all the way around.
It's kind of folded around backwards a little bit. That soft lead, it does a number.
Look at the size of those bullets. Look how they mushroomed out so pretty.
Aren't those so pretty?
You can see the rifling on them. Isn't that a pretty sight?
Don't forget to check out our Patreon if you want to know more. Okay, we have that big old
bad boy. We're going to load it into this gun right here.
Now this is a lever action repeating rifle, so it's the largest bore lever action repeating rifle.
This is like a 2.5 gallon jug.
Some people say the 4 bore is bigger, but it's not a repeating rifle. Look what it does. I mean, it literally blew that stuff to pieces. Look at the egg yolk everywhere. That's amazing. That's amazing because it's a 900 grain bullet hitting it fast enough to blow it up like that. Basically just turns it into a yolk. If you want one, just contact us over on Patreon and we'll send you to the right place.
That was a smokeless powdered load.
I don't get any money or anything out of it,
so the black powder load.
I'm not making anything off of that.
Plenty of power for that.
I'm just showing you a video.
After that bullet went through the jug,
as far as I know, I'm the first person to shoot one of these on video. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, buddy.
Had a lot of recoil. And there you can see it's a repeater.
Like this right here.
It's odd how you put the cartridges in here. You got to open up the action poke them down through the top.
Just like that.
There's how they feed through the action.
Rifle, that means when we lever it, it puts the cartridge into the chamber like this.
The action's a little bit clunky at first, but once you get used to it, it levers pretty quick. I really appreciate you guys watching and supporting the channel with your views and with your thumbs up and with your comments and stuff. That really helps us out. Helps us get more content in here and get more rifles, and it really helps the channel grow. And when you share the videos, that helps out too.
Oh, buddy.
I mean,
I got this in 70 150 caliber. That's these big old huge cartridges here.
We have individual
and we're
videos.
Shoot them into all these water jugs and see if we can stop one of these big old 900 grain bullets pushed by 220 grains of 1FG black powder. So let's see what'll happen.
I mean, that thing goes through a lot of jugs of water. It just really seems like it's almost unstoppable once it gets started. Of course, it'll stop, but you know, it's just got so much power. Just look how it just blew those jugs slap off the table. It's not going all that fast compared to like the 5110 that
certainly has some recoil behind it.
Some of the bullets are producing almost 3,000 feet a second. This is not going that fast, but it still produces a lot of power.
It's got to be right here.
Now, it's not the most powerful lever action.
So it went through all
as far as
8 jugs
energy goes. The 5110
that's some pretty
produces
good power out of that thing.
over 6,400 foot-pounds.
That's how the action looks when it
this only produces almost 5,000. So it's still about 1,500 pounds short. Look at the recoil on that. That was smokeless powder there. It nearly blew it out of my hands. It recoiled.
Shoot that right there, log, and see what it does.
You really got to grip that forearm good. Gonna come up with a octagon barrel
900 grain bullet
that
should reduce the recoil logs,
and probably have the barrel just a shade longer because it has such a short action. It'll still be a fairly short gun. Look how it just rips through those logs.
It went through that 8-inch log plus the 2 gallons of water and the
that
pants.
Gun is amazing.
They get corn syrup all over.
I really do appreciate you guys watching these videos like this.
Why they have to put corn syrup in it?
If you want to see more videos with me reacting to the video and talking about what's going on, I found out that had corn syrup in it. It was, I went and got some barbecue sauce, but I hate corn syrup and everything, especially high fructose.
Hit that metal gong while we're at it.
It's really bad for you. So just shot it instead. I don't really like to eat stuff that has high fructose corn syrup in it. Every once in a while you lever it and it wouldn't load a cartridge, but most of the time if you hit it hard it would. Well, there's 2 times in a row it didn't. Yeah, you really got to hit it hard forward to get it to pop up that carrier. Look, there's that recoil again. I mean, that you can see it wasn't black powder because you didn't see all the smoke. There's a regular black powder load. It still recoiled a lot, but it was pretty amazing. I really enjoyed shooting it. Although after a little while of shooting it, your head would start feeling weird. Mainly because the gun's so light, it really needed a heavier barrel. I believe if you had it up around 10 pounds, it'd be all right. Because, I mean, you're launching a 900 grain bullet, and, of course, with black powder, it's getting up to speed, instantly. It doesn't, unlike smokeless powder where, it has less recoil. Black powder, it's an explosive, so it produces all of its velocity relatively quick. Where smokeless powder, it might get more velocity, but it starts out slower. They say black powder produces less pressure, and it does, unless you have an air gap, and then it can produce over 100,000 psi and blow up your gun. That's why it's very important to not have any air gap in your black powder cartridge, because black powder, when it slams forward because of that air gap, it can just ignite
and underneath this can of water
is
2024, and we're going to see if we can
sort of an explosive anyhow,
the bottom
so
of this
it's not really burning like a real propellant. It more explodes. But if you have an air gap, it's dangerous.
There goes the can down over there.
So that's why, especially cartridge that holds 150 grains, I just filled it on up to 230 grains because I don't know what kind of wadding that Winchester used, because if you get a wadding below the neck, I don't know if it could get jammed up in there or something and cause more pressure than normal. So I just rather put more powder than some wadding. And even with 230 grains of powder, it didn't show any signs of high pressure or anything. Just had a lot more recoil.
On the bottom of that can.
See, I did that video recently.
Okay, you open the action like this right here, and you take the cartridges and stick them down here and push them into the tube magazine.
It's really neat how these things
load like this.
These are really unique.
All right, in conclusion, we have
loading
shot
system
this
on that gun
big
that Browning
old
come up with.
1887 rifle into multiple things. We've velocity tested it. With black powder, it gets about 1,224 feet a second with a 900 grain bullet, and about the same velocity with a 700 grain bullet. With 777, it's getting about 1,400 to 1,445 feet a second with a equivalent to 200 grains of powder. And
don't forget to check us out on Patreon.
Really got some power behind it. I mean, it'll produce over 4,100 foot-pounds of energy, and that is a lot. I mean, and with smokeless powder, we got 1,400 feet a second, and that one produced less.
We appreciate all your thumbs up. It really helps the channel out a lot.
Really slow burning powder, but obviously it still kicks pretty good. It's a pretty light rifle. I'm probably going to get one made, but I'm going to get a heavier barrel just to reduce the recoil. And I kind of wonder if you could get an octagon.
Let us know how you like these reaction videos.
On it. Probably have to rework the stock a little bit, but don't you think that would be cool?
Maybe we ought to call them
thanks
commentary
for watching.
or something
God bless
else.
Each and every
What
one
do you
of
think?
I hope you come back and see me. You hear?